recommendations that would be made too. What kind of punishment or penalty for doctors who broke the law? You must get consent from anyone. I mean, that's as old as the hills. You broke the law. What could happen with sanctions and penalties for these doctors?
So the California Medical Board is the licensing agency for doctors, and they have a range of punishments. It could go from fines to a letter of reprimand, for example, all the way up to delicensing the doctor. So they have a range of penalties, including becoming a doctor. What you do is so unethical, you can't practice medicine again.
Now, when you first raised the issue, and obviously, Senator, coming from your position, I mean, they're going to take notice. I mean, a California State Senator, a prominent California State Senator, has challenged the department on this issue. The medical board, I mean, any of the other agencies, have they responded in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah,
and what's that response been?
Yeah, so the medical board is doing an ongoing investigation, and typically they don't talk about the investigation while it's going on, but they're very well aware of the allegations and some of the very shocking allegations that come out of this, because doctors have taken an oath, a Hippocratic oath, to first do no harm. That's what they need to do, and their sole concern should be that of the patient in front of them, not anything else. And it's clear to me that based on the Center for Investigative Reporting, that many of these doctors were doing these procedures that were not medically necessary and resulted in life-changing negative consequences for their patients.
You know, Senator, I was thinking back on what you made a couple minutes ago about eugenics, and it smacked of that. One of the just absolutely horrifying things about that is the right of selection. In other words, almost always, we're not talking about wealthy Anglo-Saxons. We're talking about, every time this has come up, we're talking about poor, usually African-American, Hispanic, Asian, you name it, women of color. And so there's always an ethnic and class component to that. So I'm wondering now, with the women that were involved with this, my guess is we probably see a parallel here. I'm guessing probably the majority of them were women of color. And always this thought in prison, if they're there, they're underneath, they're a substrata of society. They're just not worth anything. I mean, let's just be blunt about it. So I'm just wondering, as the investigation unfolds, will we actually have names and faces to these women?
So let me answer that in two ways. The first is, you're absolutely right. This has a disproportionate effect on women of color because our state prisons are made up disproportionately of people of color, both in the women's state prison system as well as the men's system. And when you have these procedures done, it's going to disproportionately affect women of color. It also leads, when you sort of mentioned sort of the population, the whole issue of consent itself. You've got prison inmates that are being controlled 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, under this system where can you really even give consent, right? They may just think, well, look, if the doctor asks me to do it, I need to do it or I'll get punished. It depends on what they're actually thinking and how the question is even asked. So there's a whole issue of can they even give consent to procedures like this, depending on what their frame of mind is, what they're thinking. So all that is being investigated.